and you go to both in person?
Yeah, definitely. I'm there like 3 days before the event, setting up all the way through, making sure it goes well. Basically, LiveSplit is the software that where all the data for your speedruns is held, the like splits, your best time, your best segments, like all that stuff, and that's been around for years. So right now we've been pretty dedicated to a current charity partner, which is Urban Arts. They're awesome. They're a nonprofit that are based in New York, and they basically help like underprivileged kids with an after-school program to learn like video game design and coding for video games.
That's really cool.
And art for video games. Yeah, it's awesome. They teach them like all these different programs and help them basically build a portfolio to apply for college.
On Twitch, you literally have the handle Speedrun. Alright lads, welcome back to MidweekMC, the part of the podcast where I sit down with an amazing co-host every single week. However, this week, it sadly isn't Captain AJX. I know. The only day I get AJX to myself is on Wednesdays, and sadly, Wednesday was Valentine's Day, so he prioritized his girlfriend over me, which is fair enough, I guess. However, that means he can't be with us today, and it's quite ironic, because we're not even recording on Valentine's Day anymore. We were meant to, but now we're recording on the Thursday. However, it's fine, because I do still have another co-host, as I mentioned. I am joined with RomanRodri.
Hi.
How are you today, Roman?
I'm good. I'm your break in case of emergency co-host.
You're making a return. You're making a return from the last time that we recorded, which was with Speed Silver.
Yeah, like back in December or something. Yeah.
Exactly. However, you are making a return for yet another amazing guest. Believe it or not, we are introducing. We're interviewing someone today. Oh my god, I'm stumbling over my words. Would you like to introduce them? There we go, Roman. Let's just get this out of the way. Come on.
Yeah, we're interviewing Milo, who's the co-founder and head organizer of GSA, Global Speedrun Association.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
Alright, welcome. You could have had a bit more enthusiasm with that, Roman, I must say.
Sorry, stutter sometimes. God.
We're joined with Milo, the co-founder.
I know, yeah.
And head organizer of Global Speedrun. I think that does you a bit more justice now, to be fair.
Yeah, there we go. I was about to hop out of the call, but now I'm staying.
But you're staying here, it's all good.
In my defense, I struggle with tone sometimes. There, I'm pulling out the neurodivergent card. I'm making you ableist, Orbitz.
Wow. Not my own podcast. I'm gonna have to cut it out now.
Please. No, you're not. Shush.
So, Milo, welcome in. This is the first time you're doing anything like this, right? You were mentioning before the podcast that this is the first time you're kind of talking about GSA in this kind of sense.
Yeah, I think so. I think towards the beginning of GSA, maybe Cheese and I did a stream or something similar, but it's definitely been a long time, so it feels like the first time for sure.
But that's fine. I mean, we're going to get into all the ins and outs and stuff and, cover basically the whole basis of speedrunning. And as you've seen, I've gotten a lot of speedrunners on the podcast. I mean, someone who has recently started working with GSA, which we'll get into talking about a little bit later on. But I'm a big fan of speedrunning. Don't really do it myself. I've tried in like a few senses of doing like minimal speedruns, but nothing world record worthy. So, but through the podcast, it's kind of my way to kind of connect with speedrunning in a sense. Before we begin and we get into the interview section of things, I always like to give the intro for you to introduce yourself. We've mentioned how you work with GSA and we've mentioned your name, but that doesn't really sum you up as a person. So I always like to give you the floor to kind of introduce yourself. So who are you? What do you do? A fun fact. You don't have to. It's only if you want to. Anything like that.
Sure. I really appreciate that. So I'm Milo. My name is, that's what I go by online. My name is Camilo. Let's see about me. I mean, I co-founded GSA, and that's my full-time gig now. I oversee pretty much everything to do with GSA, from production to marketing to planning events to being at the events to make them happen. So I'm pretty much the GSA guy. And what else about me? I live in Canada. I've lived here since I was 5 years old. Before that, I was in Colombia, where I was born. And what else? I feel like a lot of people don't know this about me, but I'd say my biggest passion my whole life has been soccer, actually.
No way.
Speed, but I really maintain that as like really a hobby. I play a lot of soccer, watch a lot, and play a lot of FIFA and whatnot. But I'd say speedrunning is a strong second, and it's what I guess where my like ideas in what I want to do as a career and that side of my passion, I guess, where that comes out, and I devote most of my time to in that sense. So that's a bit about me.
Now that we've established that I am in fact British, for the rest of the podcast, if that topic comes up, you have to call it it football. No calling it soccer on my
I'm so
podcast. No
I'm so
way.
sorry.
Oh no.
Ajax, the normal the regular co-host of MidweekMC, he's also a big football fan. What team do you support?
The normal one.
Okay. Yeah, I've been a Barcelona fan since
respect it.
2006 or so when I saw Ronaldinho play. And well, not in person, but you know. I think
just
back
see them
then,
play.
if you were a kid. Yeah, I think if back then, if you were a kid and you saw Ronaldinho play, you were trying to play like Ronaldinho. So yeah, I'm a Barcelona fan. And then you know, since you mentioned your British, my British team has always been Arsenal, but recently it's been Man City, obviously for the Barcelona connection with Guardiola. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Barcelona choice I respect. The English team, but you know, I mean, I saw the clip on Twitter. Obviously, we do research and we bring people on, and you're not bad at football. You are pretty good at it. The clip that you posted.
Thank you.
So
Yeah. I used to. I mean, I've played my whole life. I definitely used to be at a like higher competitive level when I was younger. But you know, still get out there every now and then.
And then you turn to speedrunning. Look at that, eh?
Yeah, well, I've been happy to. You know, it's I don't know. I feel like it scratches for a long time. I used to speedrun myself. You know, Mario 64. It scratched that same part of my competitive part of my brain, the grind and all of that. So yeah, I'd say it's well not super related, but still definitely gets the blood pumping, I guess.
Before we started recording the podcast, we established that Roman is fully Brazilian. Roman, do you play football by any chance?
This is actually kind of funny. I think I've always said this. I think I'm the only person in the entirety of Brazil that actually does not enjoy playing or watching football. I've always been a basketball person, and it caused me a lot of problems in school because nobody wanted me on their football team because I didn't care about football. I was the only person who was like, okay, I want to play basketball, and I'd be like one of the only people interested ever. Nice. I wish you were in my school when I was a kid.
It's actually kind of the same thing
really,
for me.
yeah.
I love football. I do love football, but I was always a kid who wanted to play basketball in PE.
I just feel like I don't know if it's because same. I don't know if it's because also I was just like naturally taller for most of my life. So I don't know if it's just because I never really played football, but my coordination with my feet and my legs is so clunky for football because I've never really did it anyway. For basketball, it just feels so natural to me, and not being able to play basketball most of my life except like in small groups or alone, I was just like, well, whatever, you guys can play football. I'll just kind of play defense and then just kick stuff around every now and then.
Well, now that
was my life.
Now that we've established that you don't like football. Oh, sorry, Milo?
No, sorry, I just said you do what you can. You know, you make it work.
Yeah, I try to help how I can, you know what I mean?
Well, now that we've established that you don't like football, I think for the rest of the podcast, it should just be me and you talking, Milo. Let's just forget she's here.
Who's your team, by the way, Orbitzz, that you support?
So, a quick little rundown because we probably should get into the main topic of talking about you and speedrunning. So, when I was younger, my parents don't like football, nor they like gaming, which is really ironic because I love gaming and I love football. So, I supported the team that my uncle did. He lived up in Manchester. He supported Manchester United. It made sense at the time. So, when he moved down to London, he started supporting Arsenal because it was a more local team. So, I carried on supporting Manchester United because that was the team I was given, or like the team that I was originally liked, etc. And then, as of recently, later half of last year, I became financially stable, and I don't live too far from West Ham Stadium, so I've been going to like West Ham games, and it only made sense if I'm going to a bunch of West Ham games to actually support the team, because I live nowhere near Manchester. So I said for the sake of it, like I still have Manchester United at heart because they're my childhood team, but for the sake of supporting local teams and going to games, I've said I'm part of West Ham as well now. It makes no sense not to be kind of thing.
Right, awesome. Might be a better time to be a West Ham fan than a United fan anyway.
You say that, they just got smacked by 6-0 by Arsenal. So
oh, that's true. Kind of a funny time to say it, but
exactly.
Yeah,
so,
that was rough. I was watching that, definitely.
But you didn't like football. What do you mean? So you know you weren't watching it. Why are you lying? You weren't
I'm just lying to fit in.
No fitting in for you, Roman. I'm sorry.
They kicked that ball real good.
Okay, right.
Listen.
So, other than the whole football scene, we've talked about how, your name is MiloGSA. You work, co-founder of Global Speedrun Association. However, what is Global Speedrun Association? We can say the name, but what, we can say it's something to do with speedrunning, but what actually is it?
Yeah, that's a very fair question. So GSA is, we call it an org, a speedrunning organization. We host and produce and stream speedrunning events that raise money for charity, and mainly for our main focus in content is like competitive speedrunning, so the esports, there's speedrun esports, if you will. So yeah, we stream all of that at twitch.tv/speedrun. We do mostly online events, but twice a year, or whenever we get invited to other in-person events as well. But yeah, twice a year we have an in-person event called Pace. That's a week long, and yeah, that's pretty much what we do.
So is Pace like a separate entity? Because I'm on the Pace site right now, and if I go to like home, as I said, it has a bunch of featured tournaments. So how exactly? Oh, that's start.gg. Okay, so you use the site start.gg, but your thing is Pace.
Yeah, there you go, you got it. Yeah, so Pace is one of the events that GSA produces, is probably the best way to look at it.
And then so you say events are twice a year. We have one in, see, this is a big, because I'm looking at Pace Summer 2024 Speedrun Convention. I'm assuming that's you guys, right?
Mm-hmm, that's right.
So it says June 2nd to the 8th, 2024. But then there's a list of important dates and times. There's February 3rd, which is affiliated hotel room reservations. Oh, okay, so this is just setting up for the event. Feb 17th, Feb 29th, right. Got you. Okay, right. And then that's hosted in America, right? USA.
Yeah, in Maryland. Yeah.
Where's Maryland? Sorry, I'm not really too clued up on American geography.
That's okay. Yeah, Maryland is on the East Coast. I mean, I'm Canadian, so I'm not super, in the
north. Yeah, you're not even American yourself, jeez.
Yeah, but I know it's like East Coast, by Delaware, New Jersey, kind of around all those states, New York.
That's for my American viewers, because I still have no clue. But I don't need to know. It's fine. But the first one's in June. When's the second one take place? Give us
so yeah, we usually do June and November, so Pace summer and fall.
And you go to both in person?
Yeah, definitely. I'm there like 3 days before the event, setting up all the way through, making sure it goes well.
It's a bit of a weirder question, so it's fine if you don't answer this, because I'm not sure if you'll be able to, but I'm going to ask it for the sake of it.
Sure.
How exactly is that trip funded? Is that through you? Is that through your earnings from like GSA? Is it funded by GSA specifically? It's a bit of a weirder question, but I am kind of curious how it works with conventions such as this.
Sure. So it's mostly ticket sales is our like biggest source of income, and second is sponsorships / ad revenue. Both are like pretty close, I would say. Yeah, so ad revenue from our Twitch streams.
By more than you specifically, sorry, like the hotel room, the flights. How is that out of your own pocket? Is that funded by the company? Do you know what I mean? Like when people go on like business trips, for example?
Yes. Yeah.
So how does that work?
By the company. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Right. There wasn't really much to build on that. It was just a kind of throw out there question, because I've always been quite curious how that stuff kind of works.
Sure.
I was going to ask as a follow-up to that, well, Orbitzz, if you mind.
Yeah, of course.
I was going to ask if kind of funding these kinds of conventions is kind of like the ultimate goal of running all the not in-person events, because like obviously getting people together in this way is like a massive feat. Is that like kind of a general goal, is can we get these conventions out year after year?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so I guess there's two parts of it. One is like, how it actually happens, and two, like why do we try so hard to make them happen, and like what's the point, I guess. So I guess it's easier to answer the second one first, which is that like in-person events or speedrunning for me personally is like the peak of community interaction, and where it really just all comes to a climax. Like, where we're online all the time with our friends, and we build our communities and our friendships and these memories, and we play our games, and we discover the strats and everything like all online, and then it all coming together in person, at the wide variety of speedrunning events that there are, obviously not just GSA ones, is like, I don't know, it's so special, and it's really what makes me want to keep doing this. So that's like priority number one, I would say, as far as like what I want to keep doing with GSA. So then there's the side of like, how do we actually make it happen? I always try to make like each individual event, whether it's online or in person, at least break even on its own. So without having to be, without it having to lean on other aspects of the business, or other aspects of the business, funneling its success into making something else happen that is on its own losing money. So I definitely try to be as like sustainable as possible, so that we can keep doing this for as long as we can.
That's really amazing. Thank you.
So genuine as well. That's the thing. Like, it's such a genuine but I mean, it's nice to hear it, because I think this is the first time in 83 episodes of the podcast that we've really had someone on who I've had the ex like head of Twitch Rivals on the podcast, and obviously we've had Noxite and stuff, but like we never really had it of like someone who is straight up managing their own convention. Like the convention is about you and about what you do. I know you're co-founder, but for the sake of the podcast, I'm specifically speaking to you. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's so genuine to hear this. Like, this is what you do.
No, for sure. I mean, I guess as a segue, saying this is what you do. I've really loved speedrunning since I stumbled across it in 2015, I think it was, on Twitch that I discovered Twitch in 2015, and then I saw on the front page that somebody was speedrunning. Clint Stevens was speedrunning Ocarina of Time, which was like my favorite game ever, favorite Zelda game. And just through that, then I started watching like Mario speedruns and then other speedruns, and I was just hooked. So I tried, speedrunning myself for a couple years, Mario 64, made a bunch of friends in the community and all that. And I guess I've always had like a brain for like seeing what's already, what people are doing in something or what's going on with like a community or an industry or something. And then my brain just starts to think like, what if we did this? Like, this is happening, so like, why can't we do that? Or, so I think that's just through all of that, loving speedrunning and then making friends in the community and seeing all the different things that were going on. I just thought, like in-person competitive speedrunning could be a thing, making an event out of that and all of that. So I think that's kind of what what my brain has been the itch that my brain has been trying to scratch since I've been in the community, and now we're here.
I guess to look at a bit of funny irony. So the last time that Roman co-hosted a podcast, I mentioned at the start, she co-hosted with Speedsilver. So just to explain it to you and whoever is maybe listening to this and doesn't really keep up with Minecraft, Speedsilver is the brand new owner of a Minecraft server, right? It's doing really well actually, and he's the owner of it, right? So the line that I said on his podcast, or I think I did, or I said it on another podcast regarding Hoplite, it's called Hoplite. I said it's a server about UHC created by the UHC community, because Speedsilver was originally a UHC creator and then made the UHC server. So he knew exactly what he wanted. He knew exactly what the community wanted. He knew exactly what to do, what not to do, that kind of stuff. GSA, as you've explained it right now, is essentially a Global Speedrunning Association created by the speedrunning community. Or in like, you know what I mean? Like, you are a speedrunner, you created this, you know exactly what people want, you know what people don't want, and you're not limited to certain games. I mean, you said one of your favorite ones to speedrun or like see you speedrun was the Zelda. I guess you said a specific name. Sorry, I'm not too clued up on multiple game names, but just in that sense, Zelda. But like here, the first one that's being speedrun is Super Mario 64. It's like you're able to, because you've done speedrunning and all that kind of stuff, you're able to look at the variety of things. You know what people want, you know what to do, you know what not to do, because you're a speedrunner who has created this speedrunning association.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. One of the beauties of speedrunning is that variety doesn't even begin to explain it, because you can speedrun any game. So although speedrunning is this like umbrella that like all these different communities fall under, and yes, we're all speedrunners, like each game has its own community, has its own culture, has its own events that they like to go to, the way they interact with each other, how welcoming they are. Like it's definitely been a joy that I've stumbled upon by doing what we've done with GSA, is working with all these different communities and really feeling that, getting to know so many of them, working with them on different events. And it's definitely, I've gained a lot of insight on how different communities work and all that kind of thing.
When was GSA founded? What year?
Summer of 2018. So it would have been July, I believe, was our first event.
So it's only 6 years then. Still fairly recent.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, COVID obviously took a couple of those years as far as in-person events and the momentum that we were building. But I'd say where we're at now is beyond where we would have been in 2020 when we were, really building to our next in-person event that got canceled, obviously. No complaints, and it has been a ride for sure.
And you've got to respect it. I mean, getting past that boundary of like COVID, content creators, COVID really benefited, but people in your sense of like running events and all that kind of stuff that requires IRL situations really set you back to be able to bypass that and step past and be like, yeah, we're in 2024, we're hosting 2 big events this year, we're already starting on it, like it's February, we're already doing the Twitch, like, is it qualifiers that you've been doing? Is it to kind of put it bluntly, it's like, you've been doing qualifiers, you've been doing this, you've been doing that, like, and to not let those 2 years where you're like, oh crap, we can't do anything in person, to now look at us. So there's big respect for that.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. We had to pivot everything to online, as everybody did really. But I honestly I didn't lean into the content creation side of things, planning events online and all those sorts of things, collaborating with influencers and other speedrunners and all that, as much as we could have during those online years. I think just when COVID hit, it was right around the time that I felt like I had been taking on too much with GSA and all of the events that we had committed ourselves to and everything. So it kind of came at maybe the right time for me in the end. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise for me personally, as far as like having to just slow down, put a pause on things. And yeah, I definitely did that for the better part of 2020. And then once things started ramping up in 2021 again, and then 2022 in person, I really felt fresh and like I came back to it all with a new perspective and maybe a more sustainable perspective. And I think it's really helped ever since.
I think that's a really healthy way of looking at it, because it would be easy to get like caught up in like any negatives or anything instead, but actually looking at the bright side of things is such like a healthy perspective to have. And I wanted to ask, actually, this is something that I couldn't find anything about it when I did the research for the podcast, but I really wanted to know, how did the GSA first become an idea for its founders? Like, how did it go from, we are speedrunning, we love speedrunning, we're in this community, I want to make an organization about it in order to actually like organize these events and these get-togethers. And how did they take that idea and turn it into, reality, like an actual organization that can do these things?
For sure. Yeah, it's a great question. So by 2018, I had been in the community for a couple years, like I said, streaming and speedrunning R64 myself. And I had, made lots of friends, both online and in person at GDQ events that I had gone to. And two of those friends, one of them was Steve O'Broyle, who is one of the co-founders as well, and then Cheese, who is another co-founder. And yeah, I think it was sometime after a GDQ in 2018 that me and Cheese just started to, hang out online more and talk more with Steve as well, who's a friend. And just in those conversations about speedrunning and about what we loved about Mario and all these, me and Steve specifically both realized we had like all these ideas of like, speedrunning so cool, and speedrunning in Mario, the Mario community and everything is so great. And like there's so many things that we could do. There's so much more that could be done. And yeah, we both had ideas for like leagues, competitive leagues, for tournaments, for different kinds of events. And eventually Steve was like, you know what, I'm going to host an event. I'm going to do it. And it was the first one that we ever did was the Mario 64 120 star relay tournament that we did. And, I said, you know what, I'll help you do it. I'll, figure out, I can produce it. I got a PC, we'll figure it out. And through doing that and realizing that we wanted to do so much more, I said, we should make like, a brand around this, or like a Twitch channel, like some kind of identity where like people will recognize, this is the group that hosts speedrunning events, basically, competitive events, in-person events, whatever it is that we do in the future, and to not limit ourselves to, some kind of like a Mario branding or anything like that, because obviously we came from the Mario community. I just tried to think of like the most generic, like cast the wide net name that I could think of. And so I just kind of thought like, I don't know why I based it off of like the NBA national basketball. So I just went like Global Speedrun Association. I just thought it was like generic. It was like available. No one was really doing something like that. So yeah, we just went with that, started doing events online, and just kind of went from there. Never looked back.
That's really amazing to hear, actually. Yeah.
Did the name by any chance stir up any conversation? I mean, Global Speedrun Association, you've kind of like taken the whole kind of, we're the place you come for speedrunning. Obviously, there's loads of other speedrun tournaments. I mean, Oliver, surely MCSR rank, that exists. And it's like Global Speedrun Association, like NBA. I mean, NBA is the face of basketball. You guys, how I would look here right now with that name is the face of speedrunning. So did that cause any like conversation regarding the name?
For sure, and that's totally fair. I guess how I see it is that we just didn't want to put and I'm not necessarily saying that anyone that does brand their org or what they're doing in a specific way, that they are doing this, but we just didn't want to put a limit on it or like pigeonhole ourselves. So that's why I just try to make it as like generic as possible. It was never an intention to be like, we're the, the official channel of speedrunning or something, like anything that's not us, like isn't, like that would be so silly, because we were starting off, like there's so many well-established orgs and content creators and like channels on Twitch and all that stuff that have done so much more for speedrunning, especially at that time. Like obviously GDQ is the obvious one. Yeah, so we just, it was never about like trying to be the sole face of speedrunning, because there is no sole face of speedrunning. That's obviously silly. It was literally just to like try and be professional intentional if we were going to turn this into a brand and like in the future try and get sponsors and like, you know, make this whole thing around it, while just trying to be general so that we could do events in other parts of the world. And if it ever got to that point, work with any communities that we wanted, because it would make sense because we're, you know, global speedrun, like that's just super general. Yeah, that was the intention. I know it did end up coming off a certain way to like certain people in the beginning. I don't think it's in the last like several years I've really felt that from any community that we've tried to work with or like seen stuff online or anything. But I know that in the very beginning it was like, yeah, who are these guys? Why are they the Global Speedrun Association? And I totally get that in hindsight for sure.
It's less like we are the Speedrun Association of the entire world and more like, oh, anyone in the entire world can speedrun under our association in these tournaments and these conventions or whatever they want to partake in. It's like we're open to everyone more so.
Yeah, there you go. We're not the speedrun. Yeah, we're a Global Speedrun Association. Like, yeah, it's like these are our ideas for events that we want to do. Like, does anyone want to work with us? Do you guys think it's also cool? Do you want to watch? Like, that's kind of the ethos of it all.
With GSA then, so right now you're doing Mario, oh god, I'm going to write this so poorly now. Super Mario 64, 120 stars. There we go, I got the exact name before I fumbled. What other what's the entire list of games that you've done? Because this one feels like it's the most popular one, because this isn't the first time you're doing it, right? So what other ones have you done throughout the years? Like the full list?
Gosh.
If you can remember, as much as you can remember here.
Sure, yeah. So we have I definitely have a list of at least some of them. Definitely not going to be able to name all of them, but I mean, we've done, obviously Mario 64, Mario Odyssey, we've done Celeste, a lot of Celeste stuff. We did a tournament with the Mega Man community, Mega Man X specifically. We've done Mario Kart Double Dash, we've done Super Metroid, we've done SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, we did Paper Mario, we did Diddy Kong Racing.
SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom?
Yeah, big speed game, believe it or not.
What an interesting, you know, like I respect it, but what an interesting game to speedrun of all ones you could have done.
yeah, you'd be surprised how many really, really cool glitches and like strats and everything are in there. Yeah, shout out to Shift for sure. He's like the biggest Battle for Bikini Bottom streamer and like runner that has been like grinding the game for years and really done so much for that community. So he's one of the guys, for example, that, you know, I mentioned before, that we've had the pleasure of meeting through working with all these different communities and learning their stories and like, you know,
I used to love that game, man. Sorry to cut you off mid-list, my bad.
No, you're good.
It just stood out to me. I was like, oh my god, like, yeah.
Of course, yeah, it's a unique one for sure. What else? We've done a lot of Mario Maker stuff. We've worked with the Sonic community, especially recently, on like Sonic Adventure games. I think we do a 2D Sonic tournament. I'm not sure if we did, but Jack and Dexter. What else? Aeon Drive. That was like this indie game that came out a while ago. Yeah, so we've definitely been all over, and that's just tournament that we've like allocated a lot of time to like doing over a month or whatever or longer. Then there comes like during our charity marathon, we like a bunch of other marathons host showcase runs for hundreds of different games over the years, where like people will submit to do their speed runs at our events, and then they come and put on a great show, helping us raise money for charity. And those games, I mean, that's been hundreds, like I said, so I wouldn't be able to even come close to naming them all.
Speedrunners in general just like surprise me and shock me in like a very positive way, in a sense of how, not even about free time, but how the heck do you find that glitch? How do you find that method? What is going through your head to decide, screw it, I'm gonna run into that brick wall and it's gonna boost me into the air, right? What is going through? I mean, I guess people spend the entire game walking through it, but then it's also about the memory of it. It's also about executing it. You have to run an entire full game executing it. I mean, one of my favorite ones to watch outside Minecraft was for a little period of time, there was an Escape from Lavender Island speedrun competition going on. That was so fun to watch. And it's just like, you're doing everything perfectly, so how has this person saved time by 30 seconds? How has this person now cut it down a minute? Like, what are you possibly doing to be like, oh yeah, wait, that's just saved me 20 seconds? How do you find that, you know?
Yeah, the margins. Strat discovery, glitch discovery, like that is one side of like what's really insane about speedrunning and about the grind. People put so much time into discovering those things and then so much time into practicing those things to actually perform them in runs, and it just becomes this like you're saying, like just super impressive like display of skill and knowledge of the game and everything. There's like that side of it, and then and kind of like what you said, like how did you save like, you know, this time, this other person did it seemingly the same way. The granular differences that there are in speed games, especially where the skill ceiling is so high. Yeah, seeing those tiny differences is really special as well, because like those are the things that speedrunners will know take hours and hours and hours to make, you know, effective and consistent and yeah, worth it in your run. So, and that's how you save time. That's how you save seconds, especially over speed runs that are, you know, 30 minutes an hour or longer. That adds up, and that's part of the grind as well.
What I find quite like incredible about a lot of these speed runs, especially the ones that popped off around 2018, 2019, is a lot of them are really old games that people grew up with. And when you were asking about how do people find these, you know, glitches and exploits and shortcuts and anything else that you can do to make like a speed run lose that much time or get back that much time, I suppose, make it faster, is these people like who play these games from childhood, like people who are really dedicated to, say, Super Mario 64, will then have so much time to explore. Like when you run through the game enough times, you will inevitably think, what if I do this differently? And then you just suddenly find a glitch where you exploit like the game physics. I remember there was one speed run. This was like, I don't know when I saw this, but it must have been like 2 years ago at least. There was a speed run where somebody cut time from their game because some kind of like minuscule solar flare glitched their game and made them like get like a slightly faster time on a speedrun in a specific part of a Super Mario game. And that is like such a ridiculous coincidence that this person was trying to speedrun the game, and then a tiny little solar flare glitched their game into making something impossible happen, like a specific jump that shouldn't have been possible, to cut that time back. And then there's also the like actually recreatable glitches that happen that people have their whole life to explore with. And I think that's one of the reasons that these old games are so popular, is because people have really fond memories of them, and then they have all this stuff to explore and the reason to explore it, to compete with each other. Like that is so fascinating to me. I absolutely adore that.
100%. Yeah, that's what immediately hooked me about stumbling across Ocarina of Time speedruns, was that like as soon as I saw like the glitches that these runners were doing, and you know, I was hooked. I needed to know more and more, and like understand like, yeah, how was this discovered? Why are they doing this? Like, and then seeing the new strats, and you know, and then understanding there's immunity and a bunch of runners that are like trying to break world records. It was just, yeah, like you're saying, it's just so interesting, so cool.
Do you guys at conventions like huddle around a group and like trade secrets? Like, has that always been like a thing where you huddle, oh, if you do this, and then sometimes maybe they won't be true, but I imagine that most of the time they will be.
Never help your enemies.
People just go like, oh, if you do this with your controller at this specific time, you can save 15 milliseconds off this run, and then you try it and it's actually a ruse, or then you try it and it's actually true. I imagine that's most likely the scenario, is that it's most likely true, but still.
100%. Yeah, it sounds hilarious, and again, very granular, like these little secrets, I guess. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, all of one of the beautiful things about the speedrunning community, and this is pretty standard throughout all the different ones for different games, is that the aspect of like collaboration to help each other find strats and like learn strats and share, basically just sharing of knowledge is far and wide like the standard in speedrunning communities. So all of those little things that one person might know, that information is out there. But for speed games where it's like really difficult to pick up all those things on your own, or you know, there might just be resources that are like a bit scattered in like different areas and discords or whatever. Yeah, so sometimes you will be at an event and you'll see somebody do a backup strat for something, and it just blows people's mind away. Like, what? Like, you can do that? Or, you know, and then like you get into it, like, show me that, like, you know, teach me that. Because yeah, that's definitely one of the beautiful things of in-person events as well, is sharing those like little tips and tricks that people might not know.
That is a really bit of, sorry, I was just going to say that's a really great bit of community building that you don't often see elsewhere. And I find that really adorable in the most like positive sense imaginable. Like, it's such a healthy community to be a part of in that sense.
To kind of relate to a sense here, the best way I can do it is through Minecraft. So I've watched a lot of Minecraft speedrunning. Sorry, I mean, I guess Minecraft podcast is fine, but when I watched so Minecraft 1.16 is coming up on being 4 years old, right? It came out June 2020. It's nearly 4 years old, and that's the main speedrunning version, is 1.16 as far as I'm aware, unless I'm just completely having a mirror here, but I'm pretty sure it is. And even 4 years later now, people are still finding like seeds that are like, there's like a glitch seed where like you can spawn in, mine a certain block, it drops you straight into the end portal, and you do like a certain thing to kill the Ender Dragon. I mean, only fairly recently, within like a span of 2 weeks, the RSG world record was broken 3 times for the first time in like 8 months, and it all happened within the span of 2 weeks, and it's gotten down to the point now where like somebody got a 7-minute 1 second run, showing that a sub 7 minute is possible. Wow. 4 years later, you know, people are still finding ways to make the game faster. They're still finding seeds that are like, oh crap, this is a sub 7 seed if I do this right, and it's bound to happen at one point. But it's just crazy to think, like, even with like the Mario games and even with like your favorite game, I'm sure all these years later, if people speed on it enough, they're probably still gonna find a time saver. And it's like, how has no one ever found that before? And it's just how it works, you know.
Exactly. It's another beautiful part of it all, is that, you know, you think you know a game after playing it for years and years, and then suddenly somebody stumbles across some idea or like revisits a theory that somebody proposed years before, or whatever it is, and it just kind of like blows it wide open again. Like, it feels like a new game sometimes, that, or at least this specific section of the game feels brand new, and like suddenly you gotta, you know, revisit all the strategies that you do, implement the new ones. And it's just, I think it's just a really great testament to like what humans do. I don't know, we come together and we like figure things out, and we, even when they seem to be done and optimized, we find new ways to like, reinvent them. And you definitely see that in a lot of cool ways in speedrunning, for sure. One that stands out to me, and probably a lot of people recently, was the discovery of a strat called carpetless in Mario 64. Something that was, for, you know, a decade or more, seen as just impossible and kind of a meme. Like, wow, it's so cool that we can do this with tools, with tool assisted speedruns. Like, it's possible in the game, but no human is ever going to do this. And then somebody figured out a way to do it. And that saved, like, I don't know, someone will correct me, but like something like 45 to like 55 seconds or something crazy.
Jeez.
And for a game as optimized as Mario 64, it just, like, they're calling it just like the renaissance of the game, because it was so huge. So that's just one of the examples. I'm sure there's lots across the, like I said, hundreds of communities that there are.
What about you? Like, your speedrunning, you know, we've touched on the fact that you're a speedrunner and you've had speedrunning experience and stuff, but like, have you got any world records? Like, what's your best run? What about you specifically being a speedrunner?
Sure, yeah. So I was on, you know, the real grind, like every day for like a year and a half when I got into Mario 64. That would have been from like 2016 to sometime in, like late 2016, maybe 2017 or something, to 2018 when I started doing GSA, and then I kind of put the speedrunning myself kind of on the back burner, which is something that this year I am going to get back to, actually. Funny enough, I said something similar last year, but this year I really mean it. I have like all of my stuff to practice and everything, so I'm just getting all that set up. But as far as like where I peaked, I guess I was like maybe top 30, maybe 25th or something on the 120 star leaderboards in Mario 64. My time wasn't all that great, definitely nothing to brag about now. I'm probably like 120th place or something with you know, all the new runners that have come after me. But I'd say like my highlights were like maybe being top 30 or something at one point, and having a couple of world record, I think 2 maybe world records in specific stars, just singular stars in the game. I'd say those would have been my highlights.
You say 120 is not impressive. I'd like to say it is. I mean, still being that high out of like a population, and I mean, there's at least over 1,000 people living on Earth, like, give or take. So
right,
you know, like, to be in the top 100, you know, sorry, but still, in all seriousness,
it's a good way to look at it.
It is pretty
I'm a
crazy
god
to
gamer,
like
then.
be
I
that
appreciate
high,
that.
considering like in all seriousness how many people there are on Earth and how many people have played that game, whether meaning to speedrunning, whether just playing it, whether just being faster. I mean, there's so many times that I've run a game and I'm like, oh my god, this is like, I've done it in like 20 minutes, that's real fast, and I go and look, I'm like, somebody's beat the game in 3. It's like, well then, that kind of fills my hopes a little bit. So
it's kind of like
big props.
Thank you. That's really nice. A nice way to look at it, for sure. I guess I am a god gamer then. I'll just say that. No, but I guess that's kind of what you just described, maybe the equivalent to like the Smash phenomenon, where like, you know, a lot of players that are in the competitive Smash community, you know, they're like, oh yeah, I like beat all my friends. I've like never lost. I've always been the best in my neighborhood or whatever. And then they go to a tournament and they just get wiped. Like, they just realize they have no idea how to actually play the game competitively. It's crazy. Once you stumble across these communities that have really been about it for years and years and been scientific about it, it's crazy what they've done. It really is. It's so impressive.
You ever watched the movie Pixels?
I haven't, no.
No, it's like a movie with Adam Sandler in it. Probably one of his more kind of mellow tone ones. And it's just like, I guess like the concept, it's a weird concept, but there's just a scene in it of when he's younger, right? And like he's playing in the arcade and then like a bunch of kids surround him watching him play the game. game and he's really good at it, and then he goes to like the championship, and he's just like, I guess that's the same as speedrunning, that you could just be this like hometown little guy, like you said, who's beating all your friends. And in your case, you said it, no, in the case you said it, where they realize they're not as good. But then it could also be a case of you're playing, one of your friends are like, oh, you should join this, and then you end up demolishing it, and it's like, oh, I thought I was just like good against my friends, I didn't know I was actually good in a competitive scene. Or vice versa, you think you're shit hot and then actually you're just shit. So but it's true, like, it's just crazy how, like, I mean, in my case, I'm like, oh my god, like 20 minutes was still fast. I can't remember what the game is specifically, but there was a game that happened, and 20 minutes was still fast, all things considered. And like, I mean, it probably would have been top like 1,000, I think it was, or something. So like, I'd still count that as good as like Copium. But it's like, in comparison to 3 minutes, it's just, oh my days. Then these people are also putting in that effort to get the 3-minute time, whereas I was just playing the game casually, kind of thing.
I like that you said
Makes
an
sense.
Adam Sandler movie where he has like a moment where you see his younger self. That narrows it down very little.
Well, I literally said the movie name. It's called Pixels.
I know you did, but Adam Sandler and there's his younger self is, I think, the premise of every Adam Sandler movie.
Every Adam Sandler movie ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I still named the movie, so if anyone wants to go watch it, you can. That's literally not the plot. That is not the plot of the movie, but it doesn't change anything. Yeah, my point still stands nonetheless. I guess kind of moving back into GSA then, and talking more about that. This podcast is kind of just we're just having a general conversation here. There's not really a format to it. There's no format of, let's ask this. It's just kind of having a conversation and learning more about it, because GSA is fairly recent to me. I mean, as soon as Oliver got announced for it, that was the first time I'd ever heard about it. And instantly I DM'd you, I was like, come on, podcast. Because I thought, that'd be really sick to talk to you about it. So it's completely fresh for me. So I'm literally just talking to you, learning everything here. Obviously, we've done research, but it's different talking to the actual person themselves, So
Definitely.
Cool. What are... sorry, go ahead. No, go.
Oh, I was just going to mention, the recent edition of Oliver has been great. But yeah, we were super excited that he really, me personally, I get super excited whenever I meet somebody that is an organizer in the speedrunning community, because there really aren't a lot of us, and there's so much, especially once things start to scale for your org or whatever it is that you're doing. There's so much overlap of like what we've had to deal with, I'm sure, that like it just feels like, a brother, like cut from the same cloth kind of thing. So yeah, when Kuri tweeted out and tagged GSA, that Oliver's great, and because Oliver expressed on Twitter that he was looking for some other opportunities to work in like esports or production or whatever it was, and then Kuri tagged us, letting us know like, hey, Oliver's great. And, we've worked with Kuri a few times before, and he's great as well. So I immediately was like, oh, let me check this guy out. Like, what's he done? This sounds really promising. We were actually looking to fill in like one more slot for somebody that would come on to help us on production, for online, for in-person stuff. So it all just worked out beautifully. And then, we chatted for a while. I got to know him and what he's done for Minecraft, which has already been so much, as you guys know. I know you guys had him on.
I love Minecraft. I love MCSR ranked. Oliver's just such a genuine person. It's so cool.
Yeah, he's a beast. At what he's created and helped create and done for the community already. So yeah, we were just happy that he was happy to come and help us and work with us. And yeah, we got lots of plans for lots of cool things that we're gonna do together. And he's going to keep doing all the cool stuff that he's already been doing. So it's just been like a really nice moment that we've come together. It's been a nice recent thing in GSA that's happened, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Before I ask my next question here, I do just want to give a shout out, just in case they are listening to Redlime also. Just because we beat up Oliver so much, and Redlime, you're most likely listening, hopefully.
100%.
I do want to big you up just for what you've done with Ranked as well. I always give credit where credit's due, and I'm just using this segment here quickly just to say thank you to them as well, because I know Oliver has an impact on it, but Redlime does as well. I'm not saying that you've forgotten about them. I'm just saying myself that I just want to give props to them, credit where credit's due as well.
No, absolutely, and as you should. I haven't had the pleasure of speaking or working with Redlime. Maybe we will now that Oliver's joined the team, and hopefully we collab with CSR Rank to some extent. But yeah, absolutely, Redlime should be given his flowers as well.
My question then, right? So obviously Oliver was looking to reach out. Corey Way Ping tagged you guys, as you mentioned, and then you got on board, and like Oliver's part of the team now. What is their impact specific? Sorry, I know we're talking about them specifically. I guess it's just also the way I found GSA and because it's Minecraft, and I think it's the first time we see GSA working with Minecraft speedrunning, which is interesting because I could be wrong here, but if it is the case and I'm right, it's interesting considering you guys have been around for 6 years that just Minecraft just hasn't been like looked at. Well, not looked at per se. I'm not saying it's been overlooked, but you get what I mean. You get what I'm trying to get at here. Yeah, sorry, go on. Yeah, I'll let you say.
I should answer. Yeah, before you keep going. That we've actually done quite a decent amount with Minecraft speedrunning.
Have you?
Sorry.
God, I'm so sorry.
I should have stopped you earlier. No, it's okay. It's okay.
Now I just really embarrassed myself. Hold up.
No, it's okay. There's no like documentation of like all the.
Oh my god, GSA Minecraft 1.16.1 glitches and 2021. Okay. I think I can get away with it considering it was 2021. Was like the biggest one that shows up on YouTube.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So I should stop you.
That's my good film.
we've done a decent amount. Like I think 2021.
Looking now, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think 2021 was the first one we did. We've done like 2, maybe 3 different things online, as well as like a series of open LTA tournaments. That's like the format that we do, where like you get 8 hours each day or whatever over a weekend to get the best time possible, unlimited resets, all that good stuff. So we've done like a bunch of online things with that, and then I think we've done 2, maybe 3 things in person, if I'm remembering correctly, with a group of Minecraft runners that we had come out. Once it was at Pace 2022, I believe it was. Where I think it was for 3 days. We had a group of runners that came out and grinded, and it was really cool. We've done a good amount of things with Minecraft. It's been a lot of fun. We had shifted recently in the last year or so to doing open LTA tournaments, like I mentioned, where anyone can join. That's what I was trying to. What's the difference? That's the difference. That anyone can join now to our tournaments. They're open for all skill levels, for all members of each community that we work with, and that's been hugely because of the Run GG. I got to give them a huge shout out, Joey from the Run.gg, and all the work that he's put in there to basically make a bunch of tools for speedrunning, but specifically the one that's helped us is the live split plugin that you guys know what live split is?
I do not actually know.
It's just the timer software that like everybody uses.
Yeah, the little one that it's like it goes in the top right pretty much. Yeah.
There you go.
I'm a failure at speedruns. I've never done them.
Well, I mean, I've just really embarrassed myself by saying that they've never worked with Minecraft. When I look on all it is a simple GSA Minecraft YouTube sub.
It's okay. No, you're good.
And I've seen about 5 or 6 different live streams. I don't know how that's just brushed over my head, or you know what? That's definitely me just pretending that I don't know. Right? Remember how I mentioned it? That sometimes that is definitely
the reveal. Where then I talk about it. Yeah, no, it's a good prompt. It's a good prompt for sure.
It's a little bit. It's a little bit to get you to kind of explain that you have in fact worked with Minecraft. Sorry, Karen, as you were with the split. Sorry, not the split. Timer. Sorry.
Yeah. So basically live split is the software that where all the data for your speedruns is held. The like splits, your best time, your best segments, like all that stuff, and that's been around for years. And Joey from the Run GG made a plugin extension to that, where in real time people's information for their speedruns get uploaded to and updated to the Run GG. So what that means is that we can have like an unlimited amount of people playing whatever game at the same time, and we can see how they're all doing in real time. And so the way that works then for production for these events is that we can see like, okay, we have like 50 people playing right now. These are the top like 7 that are deepest into their runs, that are on good pace or whatever. Let's show these 7 on stream. And then we just swap people in and out throughout the 8 hours or whatever that day of the 50 people that are grinding all at the same time. And that's kind of been recently what we've been doing for the last year. Again, hugely thanks to Joey at the Run GG. And so for that reason, I always wanted to go back to doing something with Minecraft, but I guess just being caught up in like working with all these other communities, I hadn't quite wrapped my head around like how we could do that format for Minecraft when Minecraft speedruns are relatively short and there's so many people that play Minecraft. So like, it's one thing to have like for 120 star, for example, 120 star is like an hour and a half, and we get like 40 to 60, sometimes more people that play. And so we swap streams, in and out every 5 minutes or 3 minutes or 10 minutes, even sometimes, like, you get a decent break. But I always thought, with Minecraft, it would be literally every like 10 seconds you'd be having to, change streams, which would be really tough to ask of a producer. But recently, Spec Speckner, actually. Do you guys know Speckner?
I
Heard the
don't,
name.
no.
I don't, but I've heard the name. I don't know specifically.
So Speckner, someone that we've worked with a few times on different online and in-person Minecraft events for Minecraft speedrunning events. Speckner has his own channel where he's done a bunch of speedrunning events as well, and he actually pretty much did this exact format. And so I asked him, like, dude, how did you do it? Like, was it not overwhelming? And he was like, no, it went great. And so I've been talking to him about maybe doing something in the future to bring Minecraft back, and obviously talking to Oliver to do the same thing. And Oliver and Speckner are friends, so we're gonna make something happen in the near future for sure to get Minecraft back in the mix, which I'm really excited about. Yeah, I guess that was a long-winded way of saying that. Yeah, we're getting back into Minecraft speedrunning for sure very soon.
See, the thing is, we would have never got those answers had I have not said that GSA has never worked with Minecraft. See, that's why I do it. Podcast host, you know, it's what I do. I mean,
I love it.
The original question was going to be, how comes you brought Oliver on board? Like, what's the purpose do they serve? Before I went on that massive tangent, but then you answered it in your tangent, so I guess that also works out perfectly.
Perfect. We balance each other out with the tangents.
Perfect.
Honestly,
Right.
when I'm not speaking, I kind of just settle into listening, and I forget that I'm actively recording a podcast with you, not just watching it. Because I get really, I get really like, oh, they're talking. That's interesting. Oh, that's really nice. Their voices are cool too. I'm just gonna like think about this.
That's kind of what AJX does as well. When AJX is here, he's amazing. He gets so involved, of course, so like very involved, and he's very good host. He also does sometimes just like not that he zones out per se, but he kind of that scenario where he's like, oh, no, he just sits back and listens. He knows he's actively here, but he just sits back and listens to us talk, kind of thing.
I do have a question though.
Huh?
I do have a question though. I was gonna ask. So I was watching, like, I was going through like older like GSA broadcasts and stuff from like 2019 and so, and I saw that like obviously back then there was like, you know, some speedruns with Ludwig in, but then I remember during the pandemic, like I remember this like from the time itself that there was a lot of people just getting into the wildest like thing that they've never done before. So a lot of people got into speedrunning, a lot of people got into chess. That became like a huge thing suddenly for like no specific reason other than just it did, and like chess like speedrun tournaments and that kind of thing really popped off. Then speedrun like with different games like Minecraft, other like a lot of Nintendo games always. But I was gonna ask, during the pandemic, did you get more creators collabing with you, or were the creators, like the larger creators specifically like Ludwig, were they mostly doing stuff individually, kind of like not necessarily amateur, like just individually, not necessarily speedrunning against other people, or was there an increase in that time of like a bit of an audience widening, I suppose, like more people being reached?
Sure. I guess in a general sense, like you're saying, yeah, during the pandemic, people were definitely branching out to trying different types of content. I think like maybe I'm wrong, but to me, the first real instance of that, of like so much crossover happening, was Among Us. Obviously that was like massive. And so maybe like just that whole, the sentiment or the idea of like crossover collaborations, people trying new things, maybe speedrunning benefited from that a little bit. I think Ludwig specifically had been speedrunning for like a while before the pandemic. I'm not sure how early on, but yeah, I know that he's been doing it for a while for different games as well. So yeah, I think the Ludwig collaboration came to be that we were doing a charity event. Oh, it was Pace 2020 online. That's what it was. Yeah, because obviously we had to cancel the in-person Pace event for 2020, so we turned it into an online event because we had already announced our lineup of runners, like our content schedule, everything. And so instead of, you know, just basically telling everybody that was going to be part of the event, like, sorry, it's not happening, we turned it into an online event, got more people involved. Yeah, and Ludwig was one of those people, which was a lot of fun. Definitely helped raise a lot of money for the charity. And yeah, there was I'm trying to think who else like we collaborated with for the first time for that event. I think Grand Pooh Bear was another cool one. Yeah, so Ludwig, Grand Pooh Bear, gosh, I'm trying to remember who else was a part of that one. Oh, Clint Stevens, funny enough, full circle. That was actually funny. It sounds silly to say it, but it really was like a full circle moment for me, like discovering speedrunning through Clint in 2015, and then 5 years later, I have this like org, and we're doing an event, and we're collaborating with all these people, and he was part of it, and he had no idea who I was, obviously, but yeah, it was just really cool to for that full circle moment for me of like discovering speedrunning, and then working with the guy that helped me discover discover speedrunning.
That's really amazing, actually. I was gonna say something about Ludwig. I saw that like the first time you guys did something with Ludwig, I think it was like a long while before the 2020, like not a long while, sorry, but like a big break between that event and the 2020 event that you cited. But I saw that he did a speedrun like in 2019 with some like I think it was a Super Mario 64 game against somebody else, and that reminded me that I think, like you said, Ludwig has been speedrunning. Like he's one of those larger creators who has been speedrunning since he was like really young. Like I think he used to speedrun like some game that has Kirby, and I remember that he used to talk about it. So he's like one of these creators that just has this long life of speedrunning that I think got kind of brought back and rejuvenated with initiatives like GSA, and then the pandemic intensifying it.
Yeah, wow, no, I didn't know that, but yeah, that sounds like that makes sense for sure. I know Lud's been a fan of speedrunning for a long time. Actually, wow, I completely forgot. That was actually the second time we had worked with Ludwig. We had once done a event in 2019, just before the pandemic, in California with Beyond the Summit, who's unfortunately no longer around. But are you guys familiar with BTS, Beyond the Summit?
I'm not actually, no.
So they were a like esports event like production company. I think I'm saying that correctly. And they worked with like a bunch of different games, like Rocket League, Smash was I think what they were the most known for, or maybe Dota. Yeah, so they had just worked with all these other games, CS:GO, and they basically did like really high production invitational style events where they would invite like a bunch of popular people or the top esports people from these separate games all under one roof. Sorry, I should say that it's like one event at a time. So like for Smash, they would invite the top 16 or however many Smash players and do like a weekend event with those Smash players. Again, like really cool high production, lots of original ideas. I had just been a fan of the Smash community for a while. Cheese especially, Cheese, my co-founder, I've been a fan of Smash for a long time, and I don't quite remember how it was that we got connected with BTS, but they were like, yeah, we've been thinking of doing a speedrun summit, a speedrunning event basically, where we invite a bunch of speedrunners and do a similar thing, but we kind of want to try out like an idea with you guys first, or maybe we reached out to them. I don't quite remember how it panned out, but basically we kind of did this trial run of a speedrun summit, but we just called it GSA Legends, ended up being the name of the event. We went in and did that with them. There was like a dozen or so speedrunners that came out, and we did a bunch of showcase runs with them with each of their individual games. We did a bunch of like kind of unique ideas involving all of them, like playing Smash Bros or playing like, I think we did ping pong or like some other silly like just fun stuff in an environment that you wouldn't normally see these speedrun influencers in. So that was one of my favorite events. Yeah, and Lud was there as part of the commentary crew that did Mario Maker, I think, and maybe he helped with some other stuff. I'm not remembering right now, but so I think that was the first time we met Ludwig and collabed with him. Oh, I'm lying again. There was actually one time before. At Shine.
This makes me feel better now. This makes me feel
there you go. Yeah. Because if I don't even remember, if I don't even remember, how are you gonna know? Yeah, no, it's all good. Shine was another a Smash tournament that's no longer around, unfortunately, but we did like a mini speedrunning event with them as well, because they were like a big Smash Bros tournament, and they just invited us to be kind of part of it and like have like a side event, I guess. And so yeah, Lud also came and did something for that. I think it was like a Mario Maker race with Cheese or with Easyscape or something like that. Anyway, yeah, sorry, I kind of went on a tangent of like I just trying to answer the question correctly. That was the first time
no, don't worry,
we worked with Lud, and then there was a couple other times.
Wait, there's another time. No way.
Yeah, at this point.
By the time this podcast comes out, we've actually collabed with Ludwig about 5 more times.
He's just everywhere. Like the Smash community. I remember that you said that. I think that's what Ludwig used to do that I was thinking of, is Ludwig used to do a lot of stuff in the Smash community. So that's interesting how that all ties in. That the Smash community has been so big with tournaments and all this stuff for years and years.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I know Lud supported like a wide variety of different communities, and Smash obviously, especially for him, is over the years is very important to the guy. So it's been in general just like I mentioned Shift before, and Grand Pooh Bear and Clint and Lud, and that's been one of the great parts of all of this, is like meeting these people who like a lot of them I looked up to like very early on, and still do in a lot of ways, and just like meeting them, working with them, and then meeting like new people in all these different communities that I didn't know about, that I would then come to like really respect and admire and like learn so much from. All of that, like just the collaboration, whether you're like a big influencer or just like this moderator in this speedrun community and you don't really get like a lot of notice for it, but they were like great to work with, and like a learned a lot from them. All that's just been really unique experience, I feel.
The amount of times to talk about Ludwig, it makes it like Ludwig tying back farther and further back, like remembering more and more things. It feels like one day you're going to look at like these black and white pictures of the founding of GSA and you're going to see Ludwig in the background of all of them just inserted into there.
Yeah, and people are going to be like, what? Like, Ludwig's part of GSA or what? What's going on here?
Yeah.
With GSA, obviously, you earn money from it. That's pretty established. You also give away money in a sense of like tournaments and stuff, because that's how tournaments work. But you also do a lot of charity tournaments. How exactly do those work? I don't really have a set question here. I'm kind of just hoping I can say this and you possibly answer it in what I'm looking for, I guess. I can build on it, build on your answer in a sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. So since late 2019 or early 2020, we've worked with like a wide variety of different charities. Basically, like around then, we thought, a huge aspect of what speedrunning is known for is the charity aspect, right? Whether that's GDQ or ESA or, these other orgs that have supported, tremendously supported like a bunch of different charities. We were like, we're doing competitive speedrunning and stuff, and we've been doing that for the last year, but why don't we just also implement the charity aspect of it? There's no reason not to. It like really gives it a different, just like another spin on like why this is great, like why I'm tuning in and why I'm watching and why I'm supporting. And there's so many, worthy causes out there that need the help and deserve the help. So I think through the first like idea for that was through CLG, because Cheese was on CLG at the time, and they were doing like a charity campaign, I think, for Tackle Kids Cancer, and they asked us if we wanted to be a part of it, and so we did it, and it was great. Raised some money for them, and then I think after that we were like, why don't we just keep doing this? This was great. And so basically we kept doing, I guess that's to start the answer. Since then we have kind of kept doing what it is that we started doing, which was like speedrunning events, marathons, and competitive tournaments and all of that, but we've just added the charity component as well. I guess that's to answer your question of how it works. I guess that's it.
What's your biggest fundraise?
Biggest singular one, I guess it kind of depends, because if you're talking about like an individual event,
money raised, I guess, in a period of time. Was that your most? I guess the one you remember best would probably be the best answer for this.
So probably I have a list of the different ones. I'd say the two that stand out was being part of TwitchCon in 2022.
Oh, cool.
We had they invited us out to have like to run their charity stage, they're like, hey, like we want to do some kind of charity content, have a stage for it, and it raised money for charity basically. So we were like, oh well, yeah, we can totally do that. They had worked with GDQ before, so they knew what speedrunning was all about and the type of content that it was. So we had the pleasure of going over there and doing that, and together we raised over $50,000, which was awesome.
Nice.
And then on our own event, I think Pace 2020 or Pace Summer 2023 both hit over $20,000. I think Pace 2023 hit 30,000. So that was great as well. I'd say those are the two that stand out. Summer last year and then TwitchCon.
If a charity wants to, essentially, I guess best word I can use is collab with you, or somebody wants to collab with you to raise money and stuff like that, how exactly do they go about that? Do they just reach out? Is there like a certain thing behind it? Like say, okay, I guess that's, I was trying to think of an example, but I don't actually have one. That's what I got.
No, you're good. So right now, we've been pretty dedicated to our current charity partner, which is Urban Arts. They're awesome. They're a nonprofit that are based in New York, and they basically help like underprivileged kids with an after-school program to learn like video game design and coding for video games.
That's really cool.
And art for video games. Yeah, it's awesome. They teach them like all these different programs and help them basically build a portfolio to apply for college, and have all these things and skills and tools under their belt to be able to go to college. So that's our current charity partner. We've been working with them pretty closely since 2021, I want to say. Since 2021. So we're pretty, I guess, to answer your question of how like other charities could get involved with us. There are like individual events that we've been a part of, like TwitchCon, or I think it was another recent one. I can't remember right now, but where we're totally open to working with other charities. But right now, like Urban Arts has really been a close partner of ours for several years now. So like when we do an event, if we can, we do it for them, if that makes sense, because we really just want to keep supporting them, and they've been really great with us. They've sponsored our events for years as well, helping us, pay like commentators, helping us pay producers, things things like that. So yeah, we work really closely with them.
That's really sweet, actually. It's really cool. How
Yeah, it's really awesome.
was that the TwitchCon one as well? Was that the charity for TwitchCon, or was that a different one?
So TwitchCon was actually, I think, 10 different charities. Urban Arts was one of them. But yeah, there was a bunch of other ones. I think Gamers Outreach was one. I don't remember the other ones. Yeah, so TwitchCon was, I think, yeah, that over 50,000. I think it was 53,000 was split evenly between all of them, which was really nice as well. Yeah, and touching on Urban Arts as well, I think in 2022, I want to say, Cheese and I had actually the pleasure of going to their headquarters, like to their school where they are in New York, just after a PACE event that we did, because Maryland is like, you know, like I think it was like a 3 or 4 hour drive from New York. So we got to meet the teachers and the students and the staff and see all the things they had going on, all their projects, and had to sit down with them and did like a Q&A, because a few of them were like big fans of Cheese, because Cheese is a, you know, like a speedrun influencer, let's say. So yeah, that was all really, really, really cool. I think about that trip a lot.
We've mentioned Cheese quite a lot here. How did you two meet?
Yeah, so we were both Mario boys. He's like, in my eyes, still like the GOAT of Mario, just because of the era that I came into the Mario 64 speedrunning scene. And so, you know, I looked up to Cheese for many years. Obviously, I was like trying to beat him, you know, for the better part of 2 years, trying to grind my way up to getting world record. Didn't end up getting anywhere close. Again, I want to be very clear on that, because it'll sound funny to my fellow Mario 64 speedrunners. But yeah, I think we met at a GDQ in 2017, I want to say. Yeah, and I remember, you know, being all like nervous to say hi to him. He was practicing. I like didn't want to bother him. And anyway, he was really nice, because anyone who's met Cheese will tell you he's a huge sweetheart. And yeah, we just talked a little bit, hung out maybe a few times throughout the week. And then at the following GDQ that I saw him was 2018, summer of 2018. And we just hung out more. We got like even closer. We played soccer in the parking lot with like some other speedrunners like Necrovita, the Mario Odyssey guy.
I've actually seen their runs before them.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
was it Necrovita? Anyway.
So, sometimes I just slap on. I'm assuming I have, because sometimes when I'm editing a podcast, I watch Mario Odyssey speedruns on like YouTube. There's like a playlist out there somewhere. I don't know why specifically. It's just really calming. Or even like Twitch streams. Sometimes I'll try and pull them up if like someone's live, because they're just really calming to watch while editing. I can't explain it. If you try and ask me to explain why it's like that, I can't. But yeah, so I actually know who that is. Funny enough.
Oh, cool. Yeah. No, I mean, Odyssey is a great game. And Nick's a really cool guy too. Anyway, yeah, it was just that summer GDQ event that we just kind of hung out a lot more, and then kept talking over Discord and stuff. And eventually, when Steve and I kind of had the idea for GSA, we very quickly were like, you know, okay, how do we make this happen? Who else should we like partner with or bring on board that like we trust and think would be interested? And you know, Cheese was like kind of a obvious person to ask, and he loved the idea right away. Like since day one, was all about it, and has been helping us and been a part of it ever since.
Look how far it's come in 6 years. Crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. I think for this coming PACE, the one in June, we're gonna have over 500 people. Jeez. Which is really, really insane to think about, because you know, again, and it feels weird to me, especially because I still feel like that guy that just like stumbled across speedrunning on Twitch and you know, streamed Mario 64 to like 10 people for like a year, and now and then you know, we started GSA doing online events, and then it was like, well, let's try an in-person one, and we had like 100 to 150 people show up, and that was like crazy. And now we're like hitting 500. It's just, yeah, it's been a pretty surreal ride and pretty funny and weird to look back on all of it.
I wanted to ask.
Oh yeah, you go ahead.
Sorry, if you can keep on. No, you can keep on.
I was just gonna say, it's the thing about like the whole, I was just watching speedrunning on Twitch, and then now I've come this far. It's a bit like with the podcast. Like my first ever job was a warehouse, and then I got into listening to a podcast called Jack Mate's Happy Hour, and then I started to offer a
job. You know
Jack Mate? Oh yeah. So I used to love I say used to, because I just haven't had time to listen to it. Just with my new job, I can't. My earphones in, and at home I'm busy working on my own one. So
sure.
But like like Jagmate's Happy Hour, I got really into listening to that, absolutely loved it, and at the time I was doing commentary videos, so I was like, oh my god, I love talking, why don't I start my own podcast? So it's just kind of funny to hopefully think that in 2-3 years the podcast will be massive and hopefully like, you know, as grow as much as GSA did. So not in the same sense because they're two completely different entities, but you get the idea I'm trying to get. And so it's just crazy to think that I was like, oh, because of my warehouse job I listened to a podcast for the first time ever because I didn't really listen to podcasts. I liked that one so much and thought, crap, I want to do this. And now look, you know, you watch speedrunning, you got into speedrunning more so, like partly because of that. And he was like, crap, I want to do what I'm doing now. And now look, you know, you're on the InsideMC podcast. How far you comes. So, but yeah, it's just crazy just how the world works of like growth. If you really want something and you work towards it, kind of you reap the results, which you're doing right now in a sense. 500 people is massive, you know, like 500 people in one room. If you put that in perspective, that's 500 viewers on Twitch consistently in the same room as you, pretty much. It's like, what the heck?
Pretty much.
No, but it is. Like, I guess to put in comparison, I'll put into perspective. Sorry.
Yeah, definitely. I just wanted to say that these are both, you know, your story, my story, and so many other people out there stories of just you see something, you know, you get like an itch in your brain, like I wonder if I could do that. I wonder, like, you know, I have a unique idea for like how I would spin this, and you know, it takes time. Usually, it takes a long time for things to move in the direction that you were like envisioning at the beginning or whatever. But you really can. It really is possible for anyone who has that itch that they got a scratch of like, I just really want to try this and see where it goes. Yeah, I think that's an important thing to say for people listening. You really can do it.
Yeah, I think Orbitzz picked up InsideMC, you know, back up earlier in 2023 after not doing it like dedicatedly for a while because it took up a lot of time that you didn't have for a while, and then you got it back into motion, and then you got all these amazing guests on one after the other. The more you started to put work into it, and people started to notice the work into it. So it's like for Orbitzz, I feel it's such a personal kind of like topic, I suppose, just as it is for you. And what I was going to ask for was, I wanted to know what speedrunning kind of is to you. Like, in what you can take that question as deeply as you want, really. But what does it bring? How is it defined? Where do you think it'll go from like year? Like, it doesn't have to go anywhere particularly different from where it is now, but just like any ideas you have about it and how many feelings you have about it that you feel like you want to talk about.
For sure. Wow. What is speedrunning to me? Yeah, that's a good way to present the question, because I could talk about it, you know, what I see in the speedrunning community, and then like what it means, what it's done for me personally, or what it means to me personally. I guess a bit of both. Like for me first, it's given me a huge sense of purpose in my life. Just put it simply and like I guess as accurately as I can. Yeah, because you know, when I stumbled across speedrunning in 2014 or 15, whenever I said I was in school, I was in college, I had just finished like my first year doing business in Canada, and I really wasn't happy. I was just deeply like bored, not like I didn't understand why I was doing what I was doing, and like, you know, I felt like I was just putting on this facade of like, yeah, no, I'm going to school, I'm doing this. And you know, when you kind of throw yourself into a life that isn't meant for you and you live that for long enough, it does like really not great things to you. You know, you just don't feel good. So I stopped going to school because I felt like I wasn't in a good place, and the only thing that I really had enthusiasm for was soccer. I mean, that's always been in the background, but like even that I had kind of stopped playing because I like felt sad and stuff. The only thing that really like got me out of bed to like do something and like learn more about it and all that kind of thing was speedrunning. So to me, speedrunning is definitely given my life a sense of purpose, and everything that's come after it. I mean that it's all the things I've talked about, like the sense of community, the competitive aspect. You know, I really grinded Mario 64 for a long time and like learned so much about the game. It's such a beautiful, deeply complicated and intricate game. It's also a piece of shit, but it's so awesome. And you know, getting to learn more about the community in general, both in Mario and in speedrunning overall. Yeah, it's just given me so many friendships, so many experiences, so many memories, so many goals to keep pushing towards, so many lessons. I could go on, but yeah, that's what speedrunning is to me. And then I think in general, like what I see and like what I respect the most about speedrunning, again, I've touched on it a bit, but it really is the sense of community, the welcoming of new members to it, the charity aspect of like millions and millions and millions of dollars being raised across so many different events for these different causes. The creativity, like the inspiration, of like strat discoveries, of routes being created for new games, like the collaboration, the people that grind these games to push world records lower and lower and push their communities to new heights. The content creators, like just everything, the creativity and inspiration is really endless. And I don't know, I feel like, somebody in my life recently, a good friend of mine from Colombia, actually, Roman, you and I were talking about Colombia. A childhood friend that I've had since I was like 1 or 2 years old or something. Like, her parents knew each other and all this stuff, and like I hadn't seen him since I left Colombia, and I had no memories of him really. And then we met again recently, which was really cool. And he's a doctor now, and he's doing well for himself and everything. And I talked to him about pretty much this, not to this extent or this depth. We got into it a little bit. We were with Cheese as well, because we had just come back from a pace event, and it felt kind of silly sitting there talking to this doctor about we're the same age. He's a doctor. I'm a speedrun events guy. And so, I tried to like keep it to a minimum, and he like was just really curious. He like kept asking about it, and he was like, man, that's crazy. That's so insane. Like, but he was very, very genuine about it. Like, this is so cool what you're doing, and, learning about the community and stuff. And I was like, yeah, but you're like saving lives, and I'm putting on video game events. It's, you don't have to like hype it up too much. And he said, no, like what I've learned through observing the world and through learning medicine and everything is that to him, there's like 2 kinds of jobs that like society has. If you like want to broadly put them into 2 different buckets, there is like jobs or dedications, whatever passions that keep society, that keep the structure of society, jobs that are necessary, doctors, teachers, farmers, like, the list goes on. Those are jobs that like are necessary to keep society functional. And then there's the other side, jobs that like make people want to live, make people want to like be inspired and like give them purpose. And yeah, and he said that, it was really nice of him to say that that's like what mine fell under, what I try and give the community is like helping that, because that's what the community's done for me. And yeah, it was just, sorry, I'm getting emotional.
Oh, don't apologize. It's really sweet.
Yeah.
Aww.
I hadn't really seen it. I hadn't really seen it that way, like that is what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to give to people, help them make memories and have things to look forward to, give them a sense of purpose as well, whether it's with their friends or like, being part of our events and competing or like whatever it is. Yeah, it's really important to me, and it's what stands out to me about speedrunning for sure.
Aww.
It's really, really sweet. That's so positive. I absolutely agree with your friend as well, because like I am a teacher, but then I don't know, life is just really miserable if you don't do like this kind of thing. It's really it's the kind of thing that makes you happy. You got to be happy to actually be able to do everything else in your life and enjoy it.
For sure. Yeah, and they're equally important, right? Like you don't have one without the other, because you need inspiration, and there's musicians, there's people that make movies, there's YouTubers, there's podcasters, all these different people that like add to the flavor and the beauty of life. And I would say like people that maintain the structure of society can do those things in their own way as well, but you can't have one without the other, right? They feed into each other, and they're both equally as important. And I definitely agree with him on that.
That just shows like the genuinity of it. I don't even know if genuinity is just not a word, but I don't care. It just shows how genuine you are with it all. Like,
I think the biggest the kind of person you can trust with something, especially creatively, is the kind of person that has passion for it. That's why when you said the thing about Hoplite, I was thinking like, yeah, the things that tend to work and be really positive in the world are the passion projects that are made by the people who love the thing they're doing already, because they'll put love into it. They won't put corporate like profit driving measures into it that take those aspects out. They'll find a way to do the passionate part and the loving part, as well as sustaining themselves and the thing that they're doing without harming it.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely something I try to keep in a balance as best I can, not to like sway it one way or the other. This is obviously a business, and like I need to put food on the table, and like I want to buy a house one day, same as everybody else, all that kind of thing, while still maintaining the aspect of what I talked about, and the passion passion and the doing things for the good of the community and all that kind of thing. So it's definitely a balancing act, but it's one that over the years I think I've improved on, and I look forward to like keep doing, I guess.
On a bit more of a non-emotional note here.
Yeah, good idea.
We've said the word speedrun so many times. I wonder why. Something that's just bizarre to me, and I guess really shows the GSA, the Global Speedrun Association in the GSA, in a sense of like just why the name fits so perfectly. On Twitch, you literally have the handle speedrun. What?
Right, yeah.
How?
I don't know, just friends in high places, man. I don't know what to... No, it's a pretty...
Ludwig.
One of the things that, like, this just further adds to the whole narrative. Like, we really were created by the community, and the community has given us so much, which I actually want to get into after. It's something I haven't talked enough about, like the people that have supported us. But the speedrun handle, I mean, really, it comes down to the relationship that Cheese had with the previous owner of speedrun.com, Pack. And he said that, or not he said, how should I say this? When me, Steve, and Cheese created GSA, and we were talking about, okay, who do we work with? How do we keep this growing? Like, how do we make things happen? What events should we do? Well, Cheese mentioned, like I'm good friends with the owner of speedrun.com, and he had been for years through like meeting at different GDQ events and stuff. And Pack was, a fan of Cheese's. I should say is a fan. He's not a fan anymore. He's not dead, but he's no longer really in the community as far as I know. I guess that's why I'm using past tense. But Cheese mentioned that he was friends with Pack, and we could talk to him to see how like speedrun.com could help us on our mission to make like competitive speedrunning happen on like a larger scale or whatever. And so, I made this whole presentation of like GSA working with speedrun.com and how we would both benefit. Obviously more so us in the beginning, but like if our vision came to fruition, that long term, speedrun.com would benefit from like new players like being involved, more people discovering speedrunning, like all that stuff. And he had no business loving it as much as he did or believing in us as much as he did, but Pack is just a genuine nice guy, and he was like, yeah, I love it. Like, I don't even need you guys to like really sell me on it. I love the idea of like this aspect of speedrunning being pushed further and the vision of it all. And he was like, yeah, great. Like, how can I help? He like promoted us on speedrun.com for our first event and put our stream on the front page and like all this stuff. It was amazing. And he was like, oh, by the way, like I just personally like own twitch.tv/speedrun. Do you want it? And we were like, do we want it? Yeah, definitely. That would help for sure. So that's how that came to be.
Because you also have Speedrun 2, Speedrun 3.
Yeah, those were actually just available, believe it or not. I couldn't believe it, but
and Speedrun 4 and 5 available,
they were. I don't know. I guess let's check right now. Twitch.tv.
Oh, yeah, I could have just done that myself, actually. Yeah, no, I could have just searched out Speedrun 5.
It does. Those two do exist, I think, which is fine.
Somebody copied you guys.
Or me, I don't know. I'm pretty sure anyway that they just didn't exist. We might have had some help from Twitch on that end. It must maybe Speedrun 2 and 3 were like inactive since like 2011 or something, so they just gave them to us. I don't quite remember, but
they don't normally tend to do that. That's a generous offer from Twitch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I guess to segue into what I was saying before about the people that have supported us. Twitch is definitely one of the entities that has really supported us throughout the years since the very beginning. Really, they helped us like put on the our first in-person event and like have promoted us on front page a ton over the years and those kinds of things. Yeah, VG Bootcamp. Are you guys familiar with VG Bootcamp, the Smash guys?
No,
I think I've heard of it, but I haven't actually seen it.
Yeah, so they basically have like the largest Super Smash Bros channel on Twitch. They run like a ton of the biggest Smash tournaments, and they have for like I don't know how long. I don't even want to say it because it might be even longer than that. Yeah, and they're just great guys. We made a connection with them through Cheese as well. I think Cheese was at a TwitchCon event in 2018 and met them, and they were like, hey, yeah, it's two brothers, Apostle and Gimmer. They were like, yeah, Cheese, yeah, we're fans. Like we love speedrunning, and Cheese told them about GSA, and they were like, oh, that's so cool. Well, you guys want to do an event? Like we have a venue in Maryland, if you guys ever want to try doing an in-person event, like we'd love to help you, and they've been helping us with that ever since. So VG Bootcamp is definitely another big player in all of this. Who else? I mean, yeah, the Run GG, like I mentioned, the sponsors and charities that we've worked throughout the years. But really, like, I think the biggest source of help that we've had that like we'll never be able to repay is people that just like the hundreds of different volunteers and people that have just like given their time to like help us with so many different things, whether it's at events or online or in chat or like on their own, they like code something for us and that like we needed, or like so many things that we often don't even ask for, they just do because they want to support, has been like, yeah, another really special thing to me that I'll like, again, we'll never be able to repay everybody for. So yeah, that's how all of this has happened as far as people that have helped, for sure.
There you go, and that's your little message to the community, your little thank you from everyone behind GSA. It doesn't need everyone to say it, you can speak for everyone, which I'm sure everyone who works with GSA has the exact same feelings as you do right now, and it's a massive like thank you to the community, thank you to everyone who has. I mean, I guess that goes for the podcast as well, like, you know, it's the exact same to you, Roman, as well, like right now you're volunteering and stuff like that, so it's a thank you to you in the sense of just helping out. Yeah, so. Oh god, this is getting more emotional than I thought it would. Oh jeez.
It's good though, it's good, you know?
Emotionality, great. I'm just making up words at this point. I need to stop. It just sounds like it's right.
Just farm it for views. That's my motto.
Milo gets emotional on the InsideMC podcast.
But yeah, getting emotional is very positive.
But you're being once again, it just does show how genuine you are. I said it before, you genuinely give a crap, you genuinely wanted to do well, you genuinely care, and this is proving it right now. This isn't false, this isn't fake, this is you being you and you talking about something you love and enjoy. It's great to hear. Massive respect.
I appreciate that.
Well, with that then, Roman, do you have any other questions?
Yes. Oh, I don't think so, because you answered everything I had so well. Actually, the other questions I had have already gone as well, the ones that I didn't ask.
Do you have anything else to talk about, Milo, that we just haven't covered, that you thought we were going to ask and we didn't, or have we pretty much covered every aspect that we can think of right now?
I think that about wraps it up. I just really want to thank you guys. Like I said, I mean, I was pretty nervous coming into this. I think, yeah, obviously you guys picked up on that, especially in the beginning, maybe throughout.
That's fine.
But yeah, I don't really, like I said, do this often or get people that like ask this many in-depth questions about what it is that I do and GSA and everything. So it's just been really nice. And definitely some unexpected sides to it. I did not expect to cry. I'm sorry about that.
No, I didn't realize you were crying. You sound like you got sad, but I didn't know you actually cried. But that's fine. Oh well, who cares?
I'm not going to judge you. I was doing Minecraft roleplay 2 nights ago, and as I was speaking in it, I started to sob, and you can see my face on the webcam. So I totally get you. Like I'm the same. I just get emotional.
There you go. No, it was a good cry. It was a good, like a happy cry. You know, just
good, it's a happy, thankful cry. Of course, yeah.
For sure. Yeah. No, and I appreciate you guys just being very welcoming and kind and everything. It was a great chat. So thank you.
Oh, all right. That's why I love
really
the podcast.
Too, yeah.
It's a great no, but it's just true. It's just a great place to give people like yourself. You know, like sometimes you'll ask questions you never even thought about answering, and you've answered everything so well. You know, so that's why I love it. that's why we do it.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, and you know, I hope you keep you know, doing the podcast and getting all the guests that you want and everything. It's definitely a cool channel that I wasn't aware of before this as well. So I look forward to hearing future episodes, who you have on and all that stuff. So yeah, just thank you.
Thank you. With that then, before I do the outro here, Milo, I always like to give it for you to promote yourself. You can promote yourself, you can promote GSA. I know we've talked about it a bunch, but like the ads on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. I mean, I guess Twitch is just Speedrun, we know that. But everywhere else.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have plans to start streaming again this year. A bunch of different stuff, but mainly Mario speedruns again. I guess I'll say that out loud, and now I got to make it happen. But yeah, just MiloGSA on everything on Twitter and Twitch if you want to keep up with what I'm doing, and then obviously GSA is at Global Speedrun on Twitch, and then on Twitter, and then on Twitch it's just Speedrun like you mentioned. So yeah, other than that, I just want to say to anyone listening, if you're not into speedrunning or just haven't had a chance to check it out, definitely check it out. There's something for everybody, whether it's Minecraft or some childhood game you played or a game that just came out or anything. And yeah, just check it out. There's so many communities, so many people to meet, so many cool things you can do with it, and it's just great. So I strongly recommend.
And if you're a Minecraft viewer listening to this and you want to kind of look more at speedrunning, GSA has done loads of collabs with Minecraft, which I definitely knew prior to the podcast. So you can go find it out there. You can go look at some of the cool stuff there, which I mean I probably will do now, to be honest, because I follow every ranked season, I follow everything, so I might as well have a look at. There's currently like a Speedrun World Cup going on as well, so I've been following that. If there's anything, I don't know.
Sick.
I love it so much, man. I just love speedrunning in general. But I kind of want to watch more stuff regarding it, so I think I will have to look more into GSA and look at prior live streams and stuff. Not even just Minecraft, just games in general.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. And if you guys by some chance ever make it out to a pace event, definitely let me know. Would love to catch up in real life as well, and for you guys to see what we got going on. And that goes for anybody listening as well. Come to Pace. Pace is really special. I put everything I can into it, and it's going to be great this year.
I'm looking forward to see how it goes. I'll be watching from England. Oh, actually, wait, it's in June. Oh no, yeah, I'll be in England. The November one probably will also be in England. But at one point in the next coming years, I will be there. Someday. I mean, I'm hoping to go to America this year, and it'll be the first time I go. So once I go to America and I get the taste of it,
amazing.
I'm trying to go to TwitchCon America. We'll see. But once I get the taste for it, I might be able to not be so scared and go elsewhere. So.
Hell yeah.
We can plan an InsideMC trip Pace sometime.
There you go. I mean, there will definitely, I'm not going to say when, but in the very near future, be some kind of Minecraft event at Pace for sure. So,
there we go. See if there's any motivation for you listening to this podcast to save money to go to Pace and meet some really cool speedrunners, because I'm assuming a lot of the MCSR people will be there. Wouldn't make any sense for them not to be. There we go. Save for Pace 2025 or 2024 maybe. Who knows? At one point in the near future. There we go. Without leaking too much. With that being said then, Milo, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us, and thank you so much for kind of enlightening us on what GSA is. I mean, I found out about GSA the same time as you found out about the podcast, so it's kind of like a mutual thing of just finding something new that's cool, So, I mean, I'm complimenting myself here, but that's fine, And Roman,
no, absolutely.
Roman, thank you for taking time out of your day also, actually. It's only evening for me at this point. Thank you for taking time out of your day to come and co-host the podcast. You obviously did most of the research for this, so coming in clutch as per usual, and you got to put it to use by actually being here. Look at that, eh?
Yeah, it was my honor to be here. It's really fun to be here. Yeah, it was a really good chat as well. So thank you, Milo, and thank you, Orbitzz.
With that being said,
thank you both so much.
No worries. This has been MidweekMC. Thank you all for listening. Stay safe. Don't eat too much bread. Check out GSA. Pieces.